And what I'd like to do, though, I want to thank Mark, Bruno, and the home team in advance. They took the time some good time to prepare, and a really valuable presentation for us. And it's really timely right now, especially in light that there's so much confusion on, with all the new technology coming out, the types of communication that's happening, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to say thank you. With no further ado, Mark, would you like to go ahead and do the screen share or have me advance?
Yeah, no, I'll do it.
Okay, we'll just.
That picture scares me though, being that big on my screen.
We'll blast it there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave screen share, and you can just, as soon as you start it, there you go.
Should be up, right?
Yeah.
Voila. Okay, let me move some stuff around here so I can actually see. You guys probably aren't seeing that, but okay. So Mike wanted me to talk to you guys about staying in touch. This is a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about here, things that I learned from my mom, who has been in business for 43 years. None of it is rocket science, really. It's pretty much basic old school type things with new technology kind of mixed in to help it work for you and actually to make it easier. So, the key for us, we always talk about, how much time we spend getting our new clients and how hard it is to get somebody to actually trust you and want to work with you. And then we get them into contract, we close escrow, everything's great, they love us. And then we don't stay in touch with them after that. And 5 years later, we're upset to learn that they sold their house to with using a different agent, not you. Yet we didn't do anything to stay in touch with them. Does that sound familiar to anybody on the call here?
Oh yeah.
I know that that has happened to me in the past, and even some cases when you stay in touch, but you don't do a really good job of staying in touch. You see their house pop up on the market, and it's just a big slap in the face, reminding you that you haven't done a big portion of your job correctly as a realtor. So what I want to talk about is your database is your business. Why stay in touch with your past clients, which seems like a really stupid question to ask. Yet as an industry, we tend to do a horrible job at keeping in touch. How often should you contact them? And then, what are the best ways to contact them? How should you do it? So pretty basic stuff for most of the people on this call. Yet hopefully there's going to be some tidbits in there for everybody. So the question is, and this is what I ask myself all the time, am I top of mind with my clients? If my clients were to think about selling their house right now or wanting to buy a house right now, would my name be the first name that they think of? And if my name's not the first name that they're thinking about, well, then obviously I should be trying to do something to make it so that it is. So in the chat box, on a scale of 1 to 10, type in how good you think your database is. 1 being you don't have a database, it's awful, and 10 being it's perfect, you couldn't do anything better. Go ahead and type it in, and Jamie, if you're on the call, maybe you can read kind of what's going across there. If anybody's actually typing stuff in.
We got a 6, 3, 7, 4, 5, 3-ish, 4, 7, 4.
Yeah, so some people doing pretty good. I mean, I would rate my database probably at a 7, maybe an 8.
Mine's
so
like a
7. I mean, 7 to me is you're doing a pretty good job. If you're anything below 7, there's definitely room for improvement, right? And even at 7, there's room to make it better. There's so many things that we could be doing to make our database better.
My database. My database is where all my stuff is kept.
What's that?
Sorry, school's happening.
Oh, no worries. No worries. So here's some statistics from the National Association of Realtors. They do surveys with buyers and sellers every year. So here are some of the more recent stats that I was able to dig up. And you guys have probably all seen this before, right? 90% of buyers said they would use their agent again. right? Like I was saying before, how many times have you closed escrow and it's a love fest with your buyers? They love you, you love them. It was a great transaction. And they always say, well, gosh, you know, when we're going to sell our house, you're the first person we're going to call, right? Or we're going to tell all our friends about you. And then when you think back about all those clients that you've done business with, how many of them actually did call you back or used you a second time? Statistically, only 27% of agents, 27% of buyers use the agent that they used previously. So there's a huge disconnect. Something happens between closing escrow with those clients and 3, 4, 5 years down the road with them actually coming back and using the agent that they said that they would use again. Wouldn't you agree? It's obvious, right?
Absolutely.
Roughly 30% of an agent's business is from repeat clients. Is that true for everybody that's on the call? Are you getting 30% of your business from your past clients? Obviously, if you're a brand new agent, this probably isn't happening. But for the agents that are out there that have been doing this a long time, this is a great question to ask yourself. And it's an easy number to look up. If you look at our team's business, about 50% of our team's business comes from past clients. And a lot of that has to do with us being rooted in the community for a long time here. But we also spend a lot of time, effort, and money staying in touch with our past clients. So this is pretty stable business for us. It's one of the reasons why our business stays pretty stable over time, because we do keep in touch with our past clients and we're able to continually harvest that biz. 41% of sellers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative. So don't you want to be that agent that these people are recommending and you get that referral kind of business without a referral fee in this case? If you're not staying in touch with those past clients and staying top of mind, they're not going to be recommending you. They're going to say, well, gosh, you know, I used an agent 5 years ago, but I never heard from them again. Or they're not going to mention you at all. So you definitely should have motivation to stay in touch with these clients. Oops. Sorry about that. So obviously it's important to stay in touch with them, right? Just think about how, like I said 2 or 3 times already, you know, think about how hard you worked to find them the right house, to get them through escrow, to earn their trust. You've put in all of the hard work on the front side. Now it's time to do the easy work on the back side. And this is the easiest source of revenue you have, especially right now with COVID. You can't go do open houses. You can't go out there and do the things that normally realtors do to get new business. So really, one of the main things that you have is to go back to your database and to drum up that business, especially right now when we're looking for listings. You know, you can go through your database, people that have sold their house, people that bought a house from you 3, 4, 5 years ago or longer, and you've got a lot of opportunities to talk to them about the market, what's happening out there right now with price points, interest rates, make sure their house is still a good fit for them, all that fun stuff. But if you don't have that list available, obviously, and you don't have it organized in a way where you can go back and sift through it, then you're not going to be in a position to be very successful at that. So to me, your database is really, it's the core of your business. So really you should spend time on your database like you spend time on, you know, a new listing or working with buyers and trying to find them the right house. This is something that should go into your schedule every day, that you spend, you know, a half hour, an hour on every day, going through people that are in your database and making sure they're up to date, making sure all the information is there, and then also putting together a plan to stay in touch with them. So the simplest database to me is just going through and writing down all the names, email addresses, phone numbers, and physical addresses of everybody that you know. And the beauty of being a realtor, if you don't remember somebody's address, we have tools online where you can go look them up, do a search using Realist or something like that and find out their address. Make a note of when they bought their home so you can do an anniversary email, or better yet, a card to them, or a phone call saying, hey, you know, can you believe it's been 6 years since you bought your house with me? And it's a great way to start a conversation. Excuse me, I'm drinking a little water here. There we go. It's a great way to start a little conversation with them. And you never know where it's going to lead. So, you know, look for friends, past clients, family members, contractors, service providers, restaurant owners, anybody that you know, or is an acquaintance. You should try to get their information together so that you can start a conversation with them on some level about real estate. So for me, I just keep it real simple. We organize our database into A, B's, and C's. A's for me are people that are advocates, somebody that I already know, knows that I'm a realtor, they would use me or have used me, and they would recommend me to somebody. And the way I'm going to communicate with that person is going to be different than maybe the B list, which are people that I know. And, you know, they may know that I'm in real estate, but I maybe don't have a real tight relationship with them. And then obviously your communication to a C level, which is anybody else out there. These are people that you maybe have never met. This could be an internet lead that comes off the KW website, or internet leads for us that come off of our regular website that we've never met or never contacted. It doesn't mean we throw them in the trash and don't try to turn them into a client down the road. We still have a way to communicate with them. Make sense? And then you want to take each one of these lists and put them into what I'm using is KW Command, and have a way to go in and to, you know, pull these lists up and be able to send them messages separately or together. And I'll get a little bit deeper into that here in a second. So, I mean, just like that, you have a database. It's not rocket science. It's not a huge amount of work. It does take time to put it together and to make it a great list that is going to convert into a lot of income. But the thing that's cool about a database is it's a growing thing. So every time you talk to somebody that's on your list, you're going to make a little note about where they are in life right now, or what that conversation was like, so that a year from now, if you talk to them again, you can pick up right where you left off. And as your database grows and gets bigger, it's harder and harder to remember all the details about all these different people that are in there. So keeping good notes in there is really important. But put every single person that you meet into your database. You should have a goal of adding. I try to add one person to our database every day, which doesn't sound like a lot. I know a lot of people would tell you, you try to add 5 new people a day and go out and look for them. You know, we've got a lot of other stuff going on. So for me, if I can add one person to our database every day, it's going to grow. And other times with our online business, you know, I may be adding 10 or 15 or 20 people at a time to our database based on what's going on with our website and leads that it's generating. So I don't have to work as hard on putting new leads into my database as, you know, maybe a single agent on their own would have to. But the key is continue to grow it. Don't forget about it. Put it on your calendar and make sure it's, you remind yourself every day to go out there and add somebody to your database. And also remember, garbage in, garbage out. If you're not paying attention when you're taking down the information, if you get an email address wrong or a phone number wrong, you just wasted all that time and effort on getting that lead, because you're not going to be able to contact them or stay in touch with them. So make sure the information that you're putting in there is accurate. And that way you're actually putting your time to good use. And it may or may not turn into business down the road, but at least you didn't waste your time on it, right? So how often should you contact your database? You know, there's tons of opinions out there. I think KW says what, 39 times? Is that their new deal? Does anybody know what their latest?
36.
36. Okay, I thought they just changed it.
Yeah, it was 32. Then it turned to 36.
All right, it was 32, went 36. The correct answer to me is enough times to stay top of mind, but not so much they feel like you're spamming them, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I get a ton of emails right now. And if I feel like somebody's sending me an email every day, do they go into my spam filter, immediately? I don't have time for that. But if I'm getting messages from somebody that are spaced out, or better yet, what they're sending me is useful information, then I find myself opening up that email and I'm actually looking forward to the next one that I get from them. So the key is not to send out junk. Don't send things out all the time. But when you do send stuff out, make sure it's useful information to that particular client or potential client. So in order to send them useful information, you kind of need to sort them in your database, right? So if they're looking for homes, let's say it's a new buyer that you met who said 5 years from now, I'm going to buy a house in Monterey. Well, would you be sending them information about North Monterey County? Probably not. You'd probably be, make a little note in there that they're interested in Monterey, set them up for a market trends report for Monterey now so they can see what's going on in the market over time. And you've got a note in your system to talk to them about Monterey. You can also set them up for listing alerts in Monterey if they're ready for that. And those are all good, positive things that you'd be sending to them that they would probably open. I have the listing that we have out on Oakshire that we just listed. Mike, you'll love this. This gal came on my website 8 years ago. And I'm sorry, no, in 2014. So what is that? 6 years ago. Came on my website. I was slow to react to her as a buyer. And a week later, I finally called her up and talked to her, and she was already under contract in this house.
Oh, been there, done that.
Which normally, it's exactly what I was like, oh my God, right? However, I stayed in touch with her. We had really good rapport on the phone. And since 2014, I've been sending her market trend reports on that market. And once in a while, I would call her just to check in. And by once in a while, it'd be once a year, once every other year. It wasn't like I was calling her all the time, right? But I just stayed in touch. So she called me up 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I want to sell my house in Carmel Valley Ranch. You've always stayed in touch and you've always sent me good information. I want you to list my house. We didn't even have to do a listing appointment with her. We literally went out there and just listed the house, Jeff and I. So that's the power of having a database and staying in touch. And doing something as simple as putting her on a market trends report that your website does automatically for you. And by doing that, I was able to stay top of mind over her agent who sold her the house in that market.
That's awesome.
So useful information is obviously key. Don't get discouraged if a few people opt out. If you're doing a lot of email stuff, people are going to opt out and you're going to get a few of those people. However, if a lot of people are opting out, then your message is obviously off and you need to adjust that. So I've had that happen to me in the past where I've switched to different services that I'm using for sending messages out that maybe aren't as personal. And all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of people opting out. Because my message obviously was off. It wasn't coming from me, or it wasn't close enough about our market. People don't want to hear from Mark Bruno about how to make a pumpkin pie. Right?
Love that.
And,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of agents that do that and that's kind of their thing. And that's great. If that's their customer base, perfect. But I don't think they're looking at me for, as a guy that's saying, hey, and here's how you're going to make your pie crust. And, here's the recipe of the week. It's just, not really my thing. And it's not something I would be talking to him about to begin with. Right. So make sure your message is on for you. So what are the best ways to stay in touch? So in the chat box, put maybe real quick, just type in the best methods that you guys have used in the past to stay in touch, or things that have gotten you the most return on, using your database and talking to your clients. Ready, go. Hey, Jamie, you want to read some of those?
Phone calls. If in Sphere, or Facebook Messenger, telephone, phone call, text.
So
quarterly calls.
What about the message itself? What are you talking to them about? Just calling somebody up isn't necessarily going to get you biz, right? You got to have something that you're talking to them about. So just curious.
Ford, care call.
Ford, yeah, Ford definitely works. Especially in the market we're in right now. Care calls and Ford pretty much the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you want to make the phone call about them, not about you. How are you doing? You know, how's the family faring through, you know, these uncertain times that we're going through.
How have you been?
I hate the term uncertain times, but it kind of fits right now, right?
It's not what you say, but what you ask.
That's right. That's right. Cool. So how to stay in touch? In-person visits obviously are the best thing that you can do, right? If you've got a relationship with somebody and they know you and you know them, the best thing that you can do is stand face to face with them and have a conversation. Hard to do in today's world. How many of you are using video besides doing calls like this, or using video in your campaigns to stay in touch with people?
I want to say real quick, Mark, you do video very well. I know you've been doing it for a number of months now, and I'm on your mailing list, and I haven't opted out.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and it's really good, timely, relevant information. It's not rhetoric, and so.
Yeah, I try not. You know, Mike, it's really hard not to get in front of the camera and just start talking about something. But so I try to keep it where it's real estate related or it's world related and somehow ties into real estate. But the biggest thing that I'm doing that I'm getting responses from is I take your daily update or your weekly market update, and I'm kind of turning that into a real simple PowerPoint. And sometimes I'm using the slides that you guys provide, and then I'm just talking about that and interjecting my own experience with what we're seeing in the market. And I tend to get the best results out of something as simple as that. It's not real complicated to do that. Listen to what you guys are saying about the market, kind of have your own insight into it, and then be able to, put it into a relatable video for our buyers and sellers that are out there. And doing it with the wide range of cities that you have allows me to send this out to a real wide group of people, and they all seem to be interested, and we get pretty good open rates and pretty good watch times. I get people that'll go all the way to the end of the video. Wow. which is amazing. That doesn't happen very often. So thanks for helping with the content. That makes it real simple for all of us. So in-person visits probably the best. I think video right now is probably second best. So if you do one-on-one videos, kind of like we're doing now, or if you're sending a video with your face and your voice and your personality, that certainly is going to be better than a text message or a direct mail or email. Phone calls are probably as good as a video as well. Probably actually a little better than a video because you can interact with people. But if you can do a video call, that's even better, right? Personal notes, that's something that I have not done a lot of, but I've found lately I have a need to do it because we can't get face-to-face with as many people. So I'm starting to do that again, and have had a lot of people email me back after they get a personal note and thank me for it, which I thought's pretty cool.
We have a question. What's a recommended amount of time for a video?
Well, it depends on what the video is about. You want to stay under 30 seconds if you can for some quick sort of a subject. But I've put out a video that was 90 minutes long where we talked about when COVID first impacted. It was Jeff and I, Jeff, Dabby, Rochelle, and I think Jeff McMullins was on the call, and we created a video for Facebook and put that out. And then I took that video and sent it out to our whole sphere because it was really talking about what was happening right out of the chute with lending, with houses, how we couldn't see things, couldn't open up houses and all of that. And it became a long discussion. So I think it was close to 90 minutes. And I had a huge response from that video going out, which totally goes against what you're told about video, right? Most people say it wants to be short and sweet and to the point. But I think if you have the right subject, you can go out there and talk a lot and people will stay on board and listen to that, as long as you're offering good information that, they're not getting somewhere else. So it has to be good local information that they're only getting from, somebody who is on the ground here, in my opinion. Mike, you have anything to add to that? Or?
I agree with that. I think that I know that people tend to have a very short attention span, and whether you do a 30-second though or a 30-minute video, keep in mind the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds, the absolute most critical part. And no matter how long it is, it's like reading a newspaper article. If you're not interested from the start, you're probably not going to go to the finish.
Yep. That's true. So here's what I do, and here's how I organize my database. Yeah, it's A, B, and C, but the way I look at it is our A list is our party list. We call it our party list. These are people that we're going to invite to our party every year. We do a client appreciation party every year. It costs us quite a bit of money to put this on. Mike was able to go to the event last year. So I think we spend, $100 a head or something like that for this party. It's not cheap when you look at the venue and the food and everything that we do. However, the group that was there, I think we had 7 people there that had referred us that year. And we actually give them a gift in front of the rest of the group and say, hey, here's so-and-so referred us a client this year. Here's a little something, a bottle of wine or a basket that we give to them, a gift basket, to say thank you for thinking of us first and referring us. And we're just taking that A list, those people that are advocates, and we're reinforcing the fact that, we really appreciate what you're doing for us. And also saying, hey, here's what you do. You're supposed to refer us. Here's what these other guys are doing. And, that A list is huge for us in terms of a lot of the business that we get. Our B lists are people that are definitely important to us, and we're willing to spend money to do like direct mail and things like that to them. However, they're not quite at the A list for us. And you'll see people will bounce around on our list between the A and the Bs. We'll take some B people and move them up, and some A people won't get invited back to the party the next year, maybe, especially if like those A listers they're not RSVPing, they're not involved or engaged in what we're doing at the party, for several years in a row. Then, we'll continue to stay in touch with them, but we're not gonna put as much effort into them. So you try to keep that A list that we have smaller and tighter, and for it to be, recent sales, and also those clients that are advocates. And you put that together in a group, and it tends to multiply and work in your favor. My C list is every single person I can think of that we have goes on our C list, and all we do is email that list. So when I say all we do is email, I mean, it doesn't cost me any money really to send an email to somebody, right? So that makes it pretty easy. So if you look down below, invite to our client appreciation party, A's only. See them in person, it's primarily A's and some B's. Personal notes would be A's and maybe some B's depending on the situation. Direct mail is A's and B's. So call and text would be A's and B's, and then some C's. We're not typically calling C's unless they raise their hand on our website and say, hey, I'm really interested in seeing this house. Or we have a specific date in place where these guys are saying they're going to buy in 2025. Then we may give them a call in 2023 or 2022, because everybody knows buyers sometimes will buy way before they say they will, especially here with second homes. So you want to kind of try to stay in touch with them a little bit earlier. Email everybody, the market report or listing alerts. We set everybody up on that, and send the videos. We do our videos to everybody because that's basically an email, right? So the A list, these are recent past clients, current buyers we are working with, people who are advocates of me or people that are on our team, and also people that still have local influence. So remember, we live in a place where there's a lot of second homeowners. A lot of these sellers are selling and moving out of state. So if they are older, retired people that maybe are moving away and they don't have a lot of influence in the area, they may not go back on our A list, but we would keep them on our B list, right? Or even if they're younger and they're moving to the East Coast, and you could just tell they've checked out of here and they don't have a huge following of people here, then obviously we wouldn't spend as much effort on the A list with them, but we certainly would keep them on our B list and try to stay in touch that way. Does that make sense? Yep. And obviously you can do it however you want to do it with your system. This has evolved over years and years, kind of with mom and all that. So the B list, All past clients that are not A's go into our B list. People that I have met are still looking to buy a home and haven't yet would be on our B list. And obviously there's exceptions to that. You know, people that I've talked to on the phone one time that live in Connecticut, you know, that say, yeah, I want to buy a house here in the Monterey Peninsula. They're not going on my B list, but people that we've had in the car and we've shown property to, if I can get all the information I need to do direct mail to them, then I would add them to our B list. Otherwise they're going on the C list. People that have referred us and moved out of the area. So, you know, friends that have done that, past clients, things like that would go on our B list. And then obviously the C list is everybody else. The more the merrier. Email's cheap and easy. You want to put out, you know, I don't mind if, you know, people get on my C list and they opt out. That's okay. I mean, in many cases, I don't even know who these people are. They've come on our website and we're just, you know, sending them information about Monterey real estate and about things that are going on using various methods. How am I doing on time here?
We're good.
Okay, cool. So C list touches. So at a minimum, people that are in our database get touched 36 times. That's interesting. That's the number for KW. So we add them to the command monthly neighborhood nurture if we have an address for them, or they're on our website getting listing alerts. Either one of those is 12 touches. Once a month it's going out. Sometimes the website listing alerts are going out more than that, but we count it as 12. We use BombBomb. Thanks to Mike, he introduced me to it, and we do the BombBomb prompt list. So the way we have it going, that's about 24 touches a year. So we do what they have in prompt, and then I tend to send something out once a month that's from me that's maybe off of their script. And that's basically what we do for our C list. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. There's no reason why I can't take every consumer that I touch that's interested in real estate and put them onto this C list. It's a matter of adding them to either our website or to the command. And I have both of those systems set up to automatically populate BombBomb and with their information. And then you add them to the list on BombBomb and away you go. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
BombBomb is, BombBomb prompt is a little bit expensive. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was $1,500 a year or something like that, Mike, for the prompt setup, which is
it's not cheap, but it's built in.
It's built in with some social media touches built right in at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And then on top of that, there's videos that are done. Basically, they're set up for you and they have scripting so you can go in and use their script. I tend to go off script on them and, you know, kind of stay in the general vicinity of what they're talking about. And but I mean, to me, it's been huge. It's made a huge difference on our biz. So when I say it's zero cost to stay in touch, obviously there's some cost associated with the systems on the back end. Yes.
Just on BombBomb, I mean, I don't love sending videos out, but they make it very easy for anyone to do. It's easy as Zoom to create the video, and I mean, just
yes. Hey, we lost you, Jeff. You went digital on us. But I would say BombBomb makes it actually really easy if you have it set up everywhere. Like my Outlook mail makes it where my Outlook email makes it where I can click a button and send a video to somebody. My website with Real Geeks has BombBomb integrated into it. So when a new lead comes across, I can actually, instead of sending them an email back, I can go in and send them a video welcoming them to our website, introducing myself. They get to see my face and hear my voice. Plus BombBomb does something ingenious. They allow you to take the first, I don't know, it's the first 2 seconds or something in the video, and it then makes that a GIF so that basically I'll do a wave or something like this, and they're seeing this movement with the video, which grabs their attention, and you get a better open rate that way. So it's a little thing that they do that I think sets them apart from most of their competition that's out there. So when we go to our B touches, so our B list, we add them to our direct mail list, which we send out 6 times a year, which Valentine's Day, 4th of July, Spring Forward, Fall Back, Christmas cards, and birthday cards. This is an old school thing to do, yet it's just another way to stay in touch, and it's a different format than just emails. We also add them to KW Command, their home anniversary plan. So whenever their home anniversary comes up, they get a phone call from me, just reminding them that it's been, 5 years, 10 years, some cases 20 years since they bought their home with us, and just want to see how everything's going. If they have any questions about their home value or about the market. So it's an easy phone call to make that people love. And then on top of that, we add them to our C list. So they get all the same communications that C gets. Does that make sense? So this is still relatively inexpensive compared to the return on investment that we get by spending money doing a direct mail to a relatively small list. And then our A touches, on top of doing everything that we do for a C and a B, we also invite them to our client appreciation party, which is potentially 3 touches. We send in a really nice invitation out every year. There's an RSVP portion of that where they talk to usually Teresa or Nicole in the office. And there's a relationship with most of these people, with even our office staff. And then if they come to the party, obviously we get to see them face to face and talk to them, and our whole team's there, which is always good. We add them to the command, at least I add them to the command quarterly call plan. So ideally I'm calling them 4 times a year and getting in touch with them that way. And then I try to get on their social media sites, which obviously doesn't work for everybody. And like I said, all B and C communications. So we're touching these guys 52 times a year. So we already kind of talked about video. This is something that was kind of interesting that came up when I was looking through the NAR statistics. 73% of homeowners say they are more likely to visit with a realtor who uses video to sell property. If you haven't incorporated video into what you're doing to stay in touch with your sphere, I think that this is ultimately going to get you. There's a lot of agents out there that are doing a lot with video. They're shooting videos of their properties. That's been going on for a long time. I think you can take it a step further. And, I don't know if you've ever received an email from somebody that has a video with their message versus just a bunch of typed words in it. Which one has more impact to you? To me, it's the video for sure.
No doubt.
So use video as a touch. You can do BombBomb. I think you can do BombBomb on a relatively inexpensive plan as well, right? It just doesn't come with all the prompt stuff.
Yeah, you can do it for $49 a month.
Yeah.
There's other services that aren't as robust, not as good. Even just doing a Facebook Live video and record it, and
yeah, exactly. Or do it on Zoom. You can do it on Zoom and record it and send it out that way too.
But the great thing about BombBomb is it takes no space in their phone, in their computer, or yours. It's all
it really has made it easy. There's no excuse not to do video if you have BombBomb. Not that this is a big pitch on BombBomb. There might be some other stuff that's out there now that's equal or better. I haven't found it yet, but I've heard there's some newer stuff out there that's supposed to be pretty good for video. And then that is all I had. What do you guys have for questions? I know it's a lot of information jammed into a short amount of time, but I was trying to keep us out of here at 11.
So if you were a single agent, Mark, and you were trying to put together a program, similar to this, how much time would you be spending on that a week, do you think?
Well, I try to spend an hour a day on our database right now. So how about you, Jeff?
Yeah, at least an hour a day. So 5 to 6 hours a week.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you're a new agent and you had more time, you should spend every extra minute that you have on your database.
Yep.
Because that's all you have right now. You can't go do open houses. How else are you picking up buyers and sellers right now?
Yeah. And great. And which one? And one other question I would have is how to get yourself psyched up to do that every day.
To me, it's one of the most fun parts of what I'm doing. I mean, because I know that I'm getting to talk to some of my past clients that, I'm just eager to catch up with what's going on in their life and all that. Sometimes we get too busy and you end up, missing your hour that day with your database. But I mean, I have no problem getting psyched up to do it. It's just, really it boils down to having enough time to do it, because that's what I want to do. I like doing it, but there's other things that you have to do with transactions and that sort of stuff. that, you know, kind of bog you down a little bit. So I try to always carve out the time to do the database stuff. And like I said, for me, it's easy. It's fun.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you so much for taking the time to do this. These slides don't just magically appear, and this time does. Really
No worries.
appreciate that. I know the work that went into it.